Have you heard about the guy who was hanged by a comma? His name was Sir Roger Casement, and he was executed by the British for treason after he went to Germany to gain support for Irish independence. But the only reason he was hanged was because of a single comma. Let me explain. Here's an excerpt from the 1351 Treason Act, which is what Casement was charged with. You don't have to understand the details, just notice that the crimes have to occur either within the realm or elsewhere. Casement's defense conceded that yes, he was adherent to the king's enemies, but they argued the law should not apply to him. Why? Well, because he wasn't adherent to the king's enemies in his realm, England. He traveled all the way to Germany to talk to the counter-revolutionaries, and thus they argued the law shouldn't apply. But the prosecution countered. They pointed out the phrase "or elsewhere" at the very end of the law, which to them meant that even if any of these acts were performed outside of the country, even in Germany, it would still be illegal. Here's where the comma trickery comes in. Imagine for a second that last comma wasn't there. Now, it sure seems like the "or elsewhere" phrase only applies to the last tenet of the law, aid and comfort, which Casement didn't do. And so, the defense argued that if that comma wasn't there, he should have gotten away with it. Now, I know what you're thinking. If a comma wasn't there, who cares? A comma was there. But here's the thing. I said this was the 1351 Treason Act, but modern English didn't exist in 1351, which means the modern law is a translation of the original text. Here's the original text in Norman French. See that last word, ailleurs, related to the modern French word ailleurs? It means elsewhere, and you know what's not before it? A comma. And so, the defense argued there was a mistranslation from Norman French into modern English. They argued that the comma shouldn't be there, and the "or elsewhere" should only apply to the aid and comfort rule. And even though they conceded he adhered to his enemies, he didn't do it in the realm, and so they argued that he should be ruled innocent. And the judge disagreed. The judge argued that you can't use modern English punctuation rules and apply them to 14th century Norman French punctuation rules. And I think I'd normally be inclined to agree were it not for the fact that the British government, shortly before the trial started, publicly released Casement's personal diary, outing him as a homosexual. And back then, pretty much everyone was homophobic, so of course he was found guilty. And as far as I'm aware, Britain's never apologized for it.